how is this lighting? I hope it is showing the real texture, which it seems to, right? Like you can see all the bumps and little breakouts that I've been having. So that's good. That's good for a day to try new makeup. Okay, first of all, let's try this lip plumper. So it's a lip plumper from the brand TIRTIR. It's the WATERISM lip plumper. And look at the packaging. It's kind of cool and kind of, I don't know how to feel about it kind of way, because I don't know if you can tell, it's all kind of crooked. So if you want to align with the body, the cap has to be not completely sealed, and if you are sealed, it's like all, you know, not aligned, and that's just the design. But it's, you know, kind of cool. It looks like ice cubes. It has this plasticky paddle looking little applicator. It smells like a little bit like vanilla. I hope I don't taste it. Once I apply it, I don't really smell the fragrance, but I can taste it. It's not like totally vanilla. It has some like fruity type thing in it. And I don't feel much tingly happening as of right now. Let's see. Concealer palette. So concealer palette, it's a very big trend in Asia, especially in Japan, I feel like, and in China actually. People like to use one of these concealer palettes to correct and conceal their complexion. And I have been very interested, so let's try this today. Maybe let's swatch this first. It's a very firm but creamy consistency. Okay, here is the swatch. You can see, despite it look so dark on the palette, it doesn't, you know, swatch that dark. By the way, these are the darker shade. Like, I feel like it's just a matter of tone difference on my skin rather than like being a very dark shade, like how it looks in the palette. So I feel like this, even though it really very much look like black people could use this as like concealer to conceal their blemishes, but I doubt that. I always find this about Korean base makeup. It looks way darker, and then transferring on the face, it looks way lighter. Because yesterday I tried this rom&nd cushion, which I will try in today's video as well. When I was unboxing it a couple weeks ago and trying this on yesterday, at first I thought this is too dark of a shade for me, and the liquid looks like it's very dark as well. Like, I don't know if you can tell, like it's several shades darker than me. But once I blend it out, it almost looked like it was like half a shade lighter for me. With Korean based product, you got to go like 1 or 2 shades darker than you think you are. At least that's my experience with light, medium, olive skin tone. Let's like show you in this way that you can see the color well, because in this way it's all washed out. And also now the lip plumper is showing a little bit of the tingling sensation, which it's not like hurting at all. It just feels like it's cooling, like mentally. And I stopped tasting the plumper as well. Okay, let's go with, again, this shade. And where do we want to use this is the question. Maybe here, because I always have discoloration, like some redness there. And can you tell what I am talking about? Actually, in real life, okay, in real life, this palette look even darker than if I would show you in this way. And this looked like such a bronzy shade that it's like at least 2 shades darker than my skin tone, but can you see how it's like almost a shade lighter than my skin? So don't be assuming how this color will look based on the pan. Here and here. Basically, like where the redness is. I'm thinking I want to try all of the skin color on this half, and I'm gonna try the correcting type of shade on this half, and then in the end we'll go over with the cushion foundation to see how things are working like differently. This brush feels so bad. It's like so flimsy. When I only just got this is like gift with water from Into You, the C Beauty brand. I really don't like this brush. It's again so flimsy. I don't know, maybe here let's use this shade, which is like a deeper salmon shade, to cover the... There is just some discoloration on this area of my face, like it's always been that way. I'm thinking I want to try this shade, which I don't know where to use this actually. Maybe since this looks like a very bronzy olive shade, let's put it on the redness. And again, can you see how light this shade, the second darker shade, that looks like such a bronzy olive type of shade, like it looks just about my skin tone on my face, which is so weird. I also kind of want to use the shade to maybe cover something, to see the darker shade, how this darker shade is gonna look. But where do I put this? Maybe here. It doesn't make sense to put such a dark shade under my eyes, but let's go. Again, can you see? It's like almost a brightening shade, like when it's like looks so dark in the pan. Always just feel so frustrated about these Korean base products. And now let's use a little bit of this salmon shade on the inner corner of my eyes. Like, can you tell there's not even much difference on my face? When in the palette, it definitely is, one is a salmon shade and one is a bronzy shade. Not bronzy, like a grayish shade. So first, let's go with this blue. And I think I'm gonna put on here and maybe a little bit here because I got redness there as well. Probably on my nose a little bit as well. It's all pretty red and all of these breakouts, and I think these are more like browny type of color rather than red. Then let's use the dark salmon shade for brightening, because this is like a darker area. I'm thinking to use the lavender shade on here. My face looks so weird right now. I'm gonna spray it with the hydrating face mist. This is from the brand Elixir. This is actually a J Beauty brand. Because my face being so dry lately, and I don't want to be like, oh, this didn't work well, probably because my face is dry, right? Okay, and a wetted sponge. This is one of those cushion pads, but it's also the same type material as a beauty blender. So it will become softer and bigger after it's wet. And I think this is probably better for my very dry skin right now. I feel like it's covering pretty well, right? And the way this part I can't even see the color because it's so close to my skin tone. Yeah, it blends really well. And between my eyebrow, which is a problem area for base products for me, because it's always like look heavy and gathering there. It looks pretty nice, but I would love to say this is not a full coverage concealer. I guess you could keep layering it, but I feel like this is probably one of the more medium coverage type of concealer. And I found that I haven't used the center shade, which looks like a peachy but skin tone, not like a salmon shade, but you know, just a normal foundation with peachy undertone type stuff. And in the palette, it looks like it's gonna be a little bit dark for my skin, and now on my skin it looks like at least 1.5 shade lighter. No wonder why I see all of the pale girlies use this palette and they never complain about the shade being too dark. Because it's not too dark. Okay, and I feel like the puff didn't absorb that much, but still the coverage is not entirely that high. This half of my face is pretty clear, as you can see. My problem is this half, clean edge. I don't think it's working well on the very dry patch. It doesn't blend too bad, but sometimes I feel like you can see it's not covering that great either. I think I should try to use my fingers. I follow the Japanese beauty content creator Mizukoshi Misato. She really likes this palette and she uses a dry sponge, which I don't know if I can use that for today because my skin is dry. But I feel like for fingers, we could try with fingers, right? And I feel like I can see the darkness is pretty much covered here, but the spots is not covered, and this redness can have a little bit more care as well. More gray corrector here. I feel like it's instantly better, instantly more coverage. For this spot, actually normally I don't really care about covering these like spots. I just let them be because I'm human. Like it's not normal to have acne scars, right? But for the sake of trying this concealer palette, you know, I'm gonna take this shade. This is the skin tone shade, and try to cover here. So this spot is more of, there is no texture, it just left a little bit color. I feel like it's covering maybe 50% of it. And this is the one that's healed, but it still has like a cap on it, so like a little bit of dry skin. And for this type of acne scar, it's not really covering well. And we also have a couple here. And these are not the dry ones, these are just colors. And again, I feel like it's covering about half of it. And under our eyes, let's take the dark salmon shade. I think this concealer could be good for drier skin because my skin right now is pretty dry and it doesn't seem to be like too hard to blend or anything. It's not a very creamy formula, but it's more like firm and thin, so it's not like super hard to blend. I do like the formula because sometimes I find like super creamy concealers, it can actually be very hard to blend sometimes and look cakey. Okay, the way we spent almost 20 minutes on one item, the rom&nd cushion. This is the Bare Water cushion, and I have the shade 05 Sand. And this is the shade, the darkest shade of this cushion. I first thought it would be too dark. As you can see, it's pretty much like, it looks like it could be 3 shades darker, but just watch this. By the way, I have foundation reference in the description box. Like, can you even see it on my face? Like, I barely can see it. And let's apply half over my face. And the finish is actually absolutely beautiful. Like you can see, it's a very glowy cushion, and it makes your skin look like it's so healthy. And I kind of love how glowy it is because it doesn't look oily. And these are the difference. Like, how beautiful is this? And the weird shade, you know, the shade being so dark in the pan, and it just looks like the right shade on my face. But at the same time, I feel like this cushion, this formula, is pretty sheer. It feels like a watery skin tint. So I'm thinking that's probably also why this worked for me, because how sheer and because how watery it is. My puff is been absorbing a lot of the product. So make sure you are choosing a puff that's not absorbing much of products. I should have used something else. But look how beautiful, and how it's like a little bit lighter than my neck. It's so weird, but nonetheless I love this. I actually really love this cushion, other than the shade being so weird. I feel like you can tell, like in the beginning when I have nothing on my skin, my skin definitely looked dry, and it looks like it's kind of rough, right? But right now, I feel like I can see how healthy. It's not like perfect. You can still see the blemishes, but it looks way healthier. This thing, it's actually a very old product for the market. It's the Innisfree No Sebum powder. I got this in a skincare set, and I have actually never tried this before. And this powder has been existing for years, I think. I don't know if this is one of those like HD powders. I guess it could be categorized as those, but I heard that this one doesn't have talc in it. I have to look that up, but let's see how it looks. I feel like the more important thing is how it feels, right? Because the thing is, every powder does mattify your skin and make it look more blurred. That's what powder do. So I don't think I need to really review on that perspective. But just for how it feels on the skin, it's one of those, it really feels like one of those HD powder. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like your skin is completely set with a very little amount of product. Because if a powder is not the HD kind of powder, you do need a larger amount of product to completely set your skin into the state it's not sticky at all. But with HD powder, it only need a very thin layer to fully set your face. And again, I feel like this is that. My skin feels like completely like not sticky at all with a very small amount of this powder. Among HD powders, I do think this one looks less chunky, because sometimes I find HD powder can feel chunky on your skin and make your complexion look chunky as well. And I feel like this is not making my skin whiter, because some HD powder, even though they claim it to be clear, it actually make your skin look more pale, like it has a white cast. Of course, I don't know how this is gonna look under a flashlight. Maybe we can try. Okay, I don't think it has like a major flashback, right? It looks totally normal. Mostly K-beauty today, but the next item is from Japan. It's the brand Kate Popping Silhouette Shadow in the shade BR01. Basically, this whole line is for people who don't want strong eye looks. As you can see, it's like pretty basic 3 satiny shade. It's not totally matte, but it's not like shiny either. It's just satin. I think Japanese eyeshadows are mostly like this. It's very rare to find something completely matte. It's almost always just satin, which I actually kind of prefer because it looks skin-like. And there is a not very strong, but looks pretty strong compared to this whole palette, glitter, you know. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this looks. Let's put this shade all over my eyelid as a base, and this one to deepen like some detailed area. And I'm gonna put this on the center of my eyelid and layer this one on top. That's our plan, and that's basically how I do my makeup every single day. And let's see how this first shade look on my eyelids. It doesn't seem to have that much pigment. Could be because my eyelid is like set to a very smooth state because of the powder, and this is just not sticking as well. That could be it. But let's try the darker shade. I think I might need to put this shade all over my eyelid. This has the level of pigmentation that I wanted. Just a little bit of, you know, definition on the eye area and not much like actual color. That's my ideal everyday eyeshadow. I feel like it's just a fact of put your bronzer around your eye, which I don't have a bronzer anymore, so this palette is just perfect for that. And now I'm blending the two top shade. This may be the move. Just blend this two shade and it's like the perfect bronzer type of like bronzer all over the eye type of color, and I don't even have to think about it. But at the same time, if you have a deeper skin tone than me, I don't think this is showing on your skin at all. And that's the thing with purchasing eyeshadows like this. You have to consider your skin tone as well. And now the matte cream shade on the center. I don't know if you can tell, like it's kind of have a little bit like pearl, not actual pearl, like you cannot see the like pearl particles in it. There's none of that. Why it looks darker here? Okay, just turn on the light so it doesn't look like I'm filming in the dark. And again, I think you can tell it's not like totally matte. It has a little bit shine to it. Now the glitter. Let's see how intense this is. Oh, to my surprise, it's actually pretty intense for an eyeshadow like this. And it has some fallout, like I can see it here. It's not like too aggressive, but it's there. Blowing off the excess actually help with the fall off, and I actually kind of love this glitter. It's actually a very beautiful glitter. It looks a little bit golden. It's not like completely a silver glitter. It's like pale gold type of glitter. The next product is also not K-Beauty. It's from Kaleidos, which is a sea beauty brand. And I don't have the shade name, but I'm gonna put the shade name down below. But it is this very beautiful coral shade. It's like a dark coral shade. Their products are usually more inclusive with the shades. There's a darker red. This is a deeper pink, and also this type of more bronzy type of shade. I feel like especially colors like this, it's good for deeper skin. Oh, it's actually pretty loosely pressed, and there's a lot of kickoff. Oh, it actually looks way more pinky on my skin. I feel like this is the thing with a lot of like these type of very bright, like almost neon orange they all ended up look kind of like a warm tone pink on my skin, probably because I am olive skin tone, and that's why the the yellowiness of the orange or coral shade just blend with my skin, and the pink tone of it just stand out. That's my theory. I don't know if that's what actually causes this this thing. But yeah, I love this, and it's so easy to blend. And I feel like even though it's pretty pigmented, because how blendable it is, I don't have to be too worried about how much I'm using. Like, I could use a little bit more, but it's just gonna blend very easily. So that's nice. Okay, the last thing on our face is this balm highlighter, which also is from TIRTIR. It's same with the lip plumper, which I feel nothing right now, and I don't feel like it actually has any plumping effect. But set that aside for a moment. This is the TIRTIR My Glow ROSYBEAM highlighter. It's like the name, it's like a rosy color balm highlight. And let's swatch it for you. Don't really have that much pigment, so I'm gonna assume it's gonna be basically clear with just a minimal color. And I'm right, do you see that much color? I don't, but I prefer it to be this way with the balm highlight, because I don't really want a whole lot of color. But this is actually beautiful. It looks like such a healthy dewy skin. It's not like looking oily, it just looks healthy. I really love balm highlighters from C Beauty and Korean makeup brands. I haven't tried much from J Beauty. Maybe I can get some from J Beauty brands. I do know there's one from the brand Lunasol that a lot of people use. Maybe next time we can try that. But yeah, for right now, I absolutely love what I have been trying from K Beauty and C Beauty for the balm highlights. You really don't need to pay the Chanel money to have that effect. It's actually very easy to get a good balm highlight. So getting back with the lip plumper, I don't think it's plumping at all. And we're been filming for like maybe 30 to 40 minutes, and I don't really think there's much left on my lips. So I think the longevity is an issue, because I feel like this lip plumper is very thin. It's not like a thicker gloss type of texture, so when it is very thin, it tends to not last long. That's my overall experience with this type of lip product. Even if you're gonna purchase this as like a lip gloss, it's only lasting not even an hour. It's a concern, right? So I originally was going to buy another shade from this whole range, because this is just one plumper from that whole range, and they have like normal lip glosses with colors. But this plumper being, not so long wearing, is making me question, is the other glosses, like the actual like non-plumping glosses, also not long wearing? We actually have a lot to try. I have 1 lipstick and 3 lip tints. I'm thinking to try this lipstick at first, because I want to do a rom&nd overview of this whole brand. So I thought I would get 1 matte lip products from them, because I don't think you need to get every matte product from a brand, because it normally, like when it comes to lips, if it's matte, it's almost always just gonna be very similar, if not just the same. So I just got this one. Got this during Amazon Prime Day sale, and it was super affordable. I think this is like hardly $5 when I got it. And it's this rosy, nudie, rosy type shade, which I love. I love shades like this. and it has an embossing on the bullet, and it's this matte like froth type of packaging, which I kind of love. It's a very good packaging. Like, it doesn't really look like a $5 lipstick. Of course, it's like original price is way more expensive, but still I think it's like around $10 only. A light layer, it is looking more pinky, like a cool toned mauve shade, which I feel like with a brown lip liner it could look pretty nice in a more pigmented way. It is more rosy, and I don't feel like this is gonna be a drying lipstick. It feels pretty creamy. It probably have some silicone in it, but it's not like a very silicone heavy formula, at least what I can tell. Yeah, I kind of love this. I think I wouldn't use this color on its own. Today's makeup is not it. I feel like I need to do like a more pinky or even like grayish makeup to complement this, because today's makeup somehow looks too warm toned to this. Because when I was trying the blush, I said it's like looking very pinky, right? But now against this lipstick, the blush is definitely starting to look more coral and orange on me. Okay, now we have 3 lip tints. This one is what I always use, like the line that I always use on the daily basis. The rom&nd Dewy for Water Tint, and I have the shade 03. My favorite shade is 12. And let's try it. I think this is more pinky than what I usually use, like the shade 12. It looks like the packaging looks like it's gonna be a reddish shade, but it's actually more pink. Can you see? It's like a more rosy shade. Let me compare with the shade 12. This is 12 and this is the new shade 03. It's very nice that they match their packaging with each shade. I don't know if you can tell, the shade 12 is way more brown. And again, I feel like this is looking very pink against today's makeup and this blush. It's a little bit warmer, a touch warmer than the lipstick we just tried. The next one, a new shade, well, relatively new, from the rom&nd Juicy Lasting Tint in the shade 39, Art Grape. I think the most well-known shade is like Bear Grape. Is that the number 26 or 29? Bear Grape. But this is again one of their newest shade. This is the color. On the official site, this one look way more nude, but in real life it looks very cool toned, like mauvey purple. That's one thing about Korean lip products. You cannot just look at their official photo and assume that's what you're gonna get. It's almost guaranteed that it's gonna be somehow a different color when you get it in person. I think they are shooting those photos in a very special, like professional lighting. So in real life, you don't really live under those lights, right? So the lip products is just gonna look very different. So hopefully this can give you some perspective of how this shade looks. And maybe let's swatch next to the other shades so you can see the contrast. Like, it almost looked purple against the other pinky shade, right? Definitely doesn't look purple in the official photos, I think. These do have fruity scent to it. It's not too annoying, but it's definitely there. I actually kind of like this shade, like this purpley shade. Again, I don't think it's gonna pairing well with this blush. And it kind of make my teeth look like yellow. I think this like just muted lip color thing, it will make your teeth not looking so white. I think I might need some lip liner with this one, but I don't hate this shade. I thought I'm gonna hate it, but I actually don't. And for this formula, it's the very typical gel type of lip tint. Like, it doesn't really just add color, it also has a lot of texture. Like, you can feel it on your lips. It's not heavy or anything, but it's definitely there. And it's more like a gloss and lip tint hybrid type of feeling. Like, I can feel there's some hydration and some heaviness on my lips, rather than when I apply this, it almost just feels like water. And the last lip tint is from the brand Etude, and it's the Overglow tint in the shade Milk Brew. And this is a mini because I have a lot of lip tints. Whenever I can get a mini, I want to get a mini. Milky brown. Yeah, it looks way more brown than the previous shades. This shade does kind of work well with this blush. Oh. And it's actually very, very glossy, right? It's almost like a lip gloss level of shine. And I feel like with this type of finish, I don't really feel like I need like a lip gloss over the top. And I think this is one of the most pigmented out of all of these, and I love this. This actually just feels like a lip gloss on my lip. The one I love the most is the one that I got a mini for. And there's 1.6 grams of product, which I feel like this could last me a long time even if I use it on the daily, so I think I'm good for now. Now let's do a roundup, and in the end I'm gonna wipe these off with a tissue paper to review how much tint these tints left. This concealer palette, look at the official photo and how it looks right now. You're gonna think that these shades are gonna be darker shades, right? It's not all that dark at all. Like, these shades, like these darkish shades, are just about my skin tone, and these lighter ones are super pale. So I think this palette, despite having all of the dark shades, you can only use this if you are lighter than like a medium. I think max this could used on a medium skin tone, but even then, I think the lightest shade would look a little bit ashy on you if you're like a true medium skin tone. So I think it's just designed for people who have fair to light medium skin tone. That's just the fact. But the texture wise, it's a firm, thin, but creamy formula. It's not like you swirl your finger and you feel like half the pan is coming off. No, it's like very firm, but it's not like hard to blend or anything. It's still creamy, and I do like the texture. I don't think it's like very harsh on textures or dry skin, and the pigmentation, the coverage is about medium. It's not very high, but for me, I don't really care like to have a very high coverage concealer. I don't feel the need to cover up everything, so I think for daily usage this could be good. I think probably on a daily I wouldn't use much of the top 3 color. I probably would only just, you know, reach for these 4, and I just feel like the way this is designed, it wants to include more people, but it's just in a way that everybody that gets this cannot use all of the shade. You know what I mean? It's probably better just make this a quad and make separate like different shades of the quad, so like different skin tone can pick a different little quad and have all of the shade work for them. I think if I'm gonna rate this is probably 6 out of 10. Not totally not worth trying or anything, but again, you're wasting some of the shades, and I feel like the way it looks in the pan looks very misleading. Like, yeah, you would think these work for people with way darker skin tone, right? This cushion, similar issue. Like I mentioned, look way darker, way darker in the pan than it is looking on my face. Like, again, it looks a little bit too pale for me, right? I think it could be because of this lighting, but in real life, it looks like a hair lighter than my neck as well. On the camera, because there's lighting and there's shadow on my neck, so my neck naturally look darker than my face, because my face is like way further, so the lighting are all focused on my face, therefore it look paler. But in real life, it's not like a very big of a difference, and yeah, it just look like half a shade lighter. The formula, it's a very glowy, very thin skin tint like formula, and I don't know if you can tell on this lid, you will tap off some products, right? Can you see there is like almost a drop of product gathered there? That's how watery this is. This is almost just water. If it's not, it's not gonna show off like a drop of water. If you have a skin tone lighter than medium, and you would like sheer to light coverage, very glowy natural cushion foundation, this could be good for you. I actually loved the formula. I feel like sometimes it's like settling into the pores around my nose. I normally don't have that issue. I normally, if that happens, it happens on my cheeks, like this area where I have bigger pores, but it looks super smooth on this area, but happening a little bit here. But you can not really see it that well. It's not like super like visible. This powder, this very cult favorite K-beauty powder, the Innisfree no sebum mineral powder. It's nice. It's a nice powder. I understand the hype. It doesn't look chunky on the skin. You don't have to use a lot to completely set your face, and I don't feel like it's very drying, given the weather being so dry. It feels pretty nice on the skin. Like, my skin feels dry to the touch, but I don't actually feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like my skin is being tightened, and when I make facial expression, my skin is about to, you know, have some cracks. It doesn't feel that way. It feels comfortable. It doesn't really have white cast as much as I could possibly tell. And that's for the powder. The quad, I loved this actually, and to my surprise, the glitter is very intense. I just feel like you have to pay attention to your own skin tone to purchase a quad like this, because again, if you're anywhere deeper than me, I don't think the other colors other than the glitter is gonna show on you. But for me, I think it's just enough for daily usage. I kind of love this quad. I think I'm gonna put it in my everyday drawer. Next is this blush. Absolutely love this. It's so creamy and so blendable. I absolutely love this formula, and given it's so inclusive with the shades, I'm gonna rate this 9 out of 10. I absolutely love this. I don't think there's much that needed to say. This lip plumper, don't really like this. Don't get this. It doesn't really plump your lip. It doesn't even feel that hydrating, and it doesn't really last even through an hour. So why even get this? And I'm definitely not gonna try the other shades of this formula. And this balm highlight, I think it's a very decent balm highlight. I love this. I feel like balm highlight, unless it's like a very super outrageously sticky and it disturbs your makeup underneath, then it's gonna be a good balm highlight, right? Despite I put it on fully set skin, it looked beautiful, right? My foundation and everything underneath, like including the blush. It doesn't seem to be, you know, bunching up and looking weird. It looks totally smooth with this on top, and yeah, I love this. It's a great balm highlight. I don't know how to rate a balm highlight because it's just such a simple product. As long as it doesn't disturb your makeup, then it's a good product. So I don't know how to rate it. All of these lip products, like I said before, my favorite would be this one from Etude. It's glowy, it's pigmented, and it feels very hydrating. And I can actually weirdly taste it a little bit on the back of my throat. So that might be something to consider. If you have like a sensitive throat, it could be a problem. But for me, I'm not that sensitive. It only has like a very faint smell, so I don't think there's like strong fragrance in it. So I think it's just the formula. I feel like that's just 1 point minus from this, so I'm gonna say it's 9 out of 10. I don't know how to rate things like this. It's a matte lipstick that it looks smooth and it's not drying, so like what else can I rate it for, right? If you want a matte lipstick and you can see a color in this range that you would love, I guess. But other than that, I don't think it's like very special and, you know, especially worth trying. I think these are great. It kind of reminds me of the Charlotte Tilbury like Revolution or something, the lipsticks. It's a nice matte lipstick. And this one, the shade being so far from the official photo is kind of concerning. But the formula of this whole range is actually pretty nice. It's a gel tint formula and it has a body to it, so you don't really need gloss on top. It's pretty high shine. I do like this shade. I just hope their official photo would be less misleading. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Probably 7 to 8 out of 10. This lip tint, I just wanted another color and I already love this formula, so there's not much to say. I think maybe 9 out of 10 depending on what type of product you want, right? If you want it to be very glossy, these are not gonna be very glossy, and it's also not very pigmented either. It's a pretty natural type of lip tint. It's tinting a little bit, but it's not tinting too much, and there's not a very high level of coverage either. It's not very glossy as well. So if you want all of those things, I don't think you will like this. It's just for people only want some color and very thin texture, which is me a lot of times. Almost forgot. Let's wipe away these lip tints. I would want to say they're all pretty much like tinting my skin like very well. I think the one that left the most tint is probably this Etude one. And the next is gonna be this one, which is Dewy for water tint, right? And the one tinting the list is surprisingly this shade, which I'm thinking is it because of the shade? I remembering this formula being way more tint. So I guess it could also have to be with the actual color, because some type of pigment is just way easier to tint your skin than the other colors, the other pigments of other colors. And that's all. I hope this video is helpful for you, and thank you very much for watching. Bye.